Good evening, guys. Welcome to the Rangers Rabble. This is the Lech Poznan preview, and we're joined by a couple of regulars, as you'll probably get to recognise them over time. It's Wilf Marshall and Scott Kennedy. How's it going, guys?
Evening, Willie. How are you?
All
good, thank you.
Good. Right, I suppose let's just get down to the nitty-gritty. Lech Poznan, obviously looking back at the first game at Ibrox, I thought they were quite an impressive team. What did you make of them, Wilf?
They were a better team than I expected them to be, Willie. I thought they were quite good. They were decent on the ball. They played some good stuff. But it's one of them for Thursday because they're out. I don't know whether they'll make a few personnel changes. So I don't really think looking at how they were in the first game is going to have a lot of bearing on what they're going to be like on Thursday, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I think maybe the outside factors of, to be honest, a bit ignorant. I'm not sure how they're getting on domestically either. So if they're wanting to concentrate on domestic football, they might forego. I know we keep going on about the financial impact of winning the game and the benefit of doing that. Whether they might forego that for domestic football, I'm not sure. But yeah, I was really impressed with how good they were. I've got a few mates that support Brighton, and obviously they've signed the young central midfielder they got. So they were keen to see how he got on, and I thought he was a terrific player. Liked to pick the ball up deep, take it past men, really drive into the heart of our midfield, and I think that's what they do. They're really, really brave on the ball, and they're not shy to zip it about. And kind of similar to how we started against Standard, I don't think we quite expected it. We kind of expect the bigger teams like Benfica to do that, but not necessarily Poznan. So I was really impressed. But going into the second game on Thursday, I think we should be more prepared. But you just don't know. They may even have a couple more gears to step up. But you know they do have their defensive frailties, which hopefully we can capitalise on.
Yeah, look, I think that's the interesting thing that you pointed out there. I managed to have a wee quick look at the forum since we last played them. They've played 8 games. They've had 4 wins, 3 defeats and 1 draw. That's inclusive of the league, the Polish Cup and Europe. They're currently sitting 7th in the table in the league. So that's quite a drop from where they were last season. So maybe there is a bit of, a struggle because of the European games, maybe adding a wee bit of extra pressure to them. But yeah, like in terms of the guy you were talking about that's already pre-signed for Brighton, that's there in loan, I thought he was very impressive in the centre of the park. He was very much in control of the game. You can understand why, that money's been spent on him. What was it, like sort of 10 or 11 million pounds that they spent on him?
8 million, I think.
Yeah, I mean, clearly a talented lad who, I'm not surprised that a few English Premier League clubs were sniffing about, and that one obviously made the move early on to get him. Even looking at the game on Thursday night, as kind of Wolf touched on there earlier, is it hard to know from Steven Gerrard's point of view how many changes to make because you don't really know how Lech Poznan are going to line up? Come to you first, Wolf.
I think it's quite difficult for them because you won't know how they're lining up because I heard a whisper today that they were possibly talking about playing some of the young players, to give them a chance because they're already out. But I mean, that might just be bluster from them. I don't really know. The good thing is that it's not a game we need anything from because we've already qualified. I mean, it'll be great to go out there, keep the winning run going or the unbeaten run going, win the group. But I mean, I think we will make some changes. I think he was always going to do that anyway as soon as we qualify because I was expecting. I've expected changes last Thursday had we done the job against Benfica. But like they say, I don't know what you won't have any inclination of what they're going to do, whether they're going to risk. Because I believe there's going to be a crowd in on Thursday. I think they're getting upwards of 7,000 folk into the ground on Thursday. I think so. They might want to put on a show for them.
What about yourself?
It's quite an interesting one. I think if we looked at the fixture a couple of weeks ago, I think they would have planned for the scenario of being in the position of qualified. So you can see on Sunday we prepared for that by, I think, the reason why we brought in Bassi and rested Barisic, and I think it'll be a swap on both flanks again. I think I'm expecting to see Patterson start, and then your likes of Hadji, it and getting a run out. But I also think we might be slightly restricted in terms of the European squad that we've got anyway. So I don't actually think we can physically make that many changes in terms of upsetting the whole balance of the side. I think what may also play into our hands, and maybe you guys have got a bit more information on this. I know Dundee United have got 9 players or so from their squad. I think it might be a bit hyperbole when they said first teamers. I think it's more 9 players from their squad that have been self-isolating, as well as the management team. But that may have a bearing on the side that we put out. It might actually put out a stronger side than we ordinarily would have done had, say, Dundee United had a stronger side that we would be facing on Sunday. So it might actually give an opportunity not to rest so many players, because it's actually, although you don't want to exhaust your players, it's actually really good to have them carry on playing, building on their form. And I think we're at a stage where we don't actually have to worry about a sudden loss of form. I think everyone collectively playing, it would need to be a real big disaster for all the players in the group to suddenly stop performing. And at the moment, it doesn't look like that. So, it may actually restrict the number in changes that we eventually make.
Yeah, well, I think.
Sorry, well, the Dundee United thing, Scott, I think, although they're saying it's 9 players, they only made 3 changes against Livingston on Saturday.
Yeah.
So I think it's only sort of 3 first-team picks and obviously the management team. So I don't think the game's in any doubt on Sunday. I can't see any way, because they played Livingston.
Yeah.
I can't see any way that they won't be playing against us.
I just in terms of strength. So I'm trying to think, compare it to, so like Aberdeen at the start of the season, they had obviously Cosgrove missing, or Aberdeen when we played them at Ibrox. I think they would have had we would have had a stronger match if they had Ferguson playing in there, as well as maybe a couple of others that were missing. So I just think if they've got a couple of other key players, and I don't know much about Dundee United, and I don't actually want to go into them because obviously. But yeah, they may have done their homework, research, and made the decision based on that. I'm just anticipating.
No, I think it's a fair comment. I think when we've obviously got a lot of games coming up. We've obviously got Thursday, then Sunday, then I think it's Wednesday, Saturday. So, the manager will start to look at maybe 2 games down the line and think, can I get him a rest? Can I give him maybe the night off? Because at the end of the day, we do now have that depth of squad where, like at the weekend, even like Itting comes on and makes an impact when he comes off the bench. Defoe comes off the bench and scores a goal. I know that unfortunately JD's not in the European squad, but those would have been the type of changes that potentially the manager would have thought about. But I suppose on the other kind of side of the coin, something that we were kind of talking about kind of off camera was that how important is it to win this group from a financial point of view? And is that part of the manager in his mind thinking, that might give me a small budget for January, even if it means bringing in like 1 loan player? If we were to get an injury, would that money be available to me? Is that something the manager thinks about, Wilf?
It'll certainly be in his mind, Willie. But I think he'd be more interested in keeping the unbeaten run going, because it's nearly Christmas and we've not been beat yet. You know what I mean? And it's phenomenal. It's something that he'll want to keep going. And as we always say, I'm not big on cliches, but winning's a habit. And not losing a habit. And when we're not always winning, we're certainly never losing. So you want to keep that going. I expect him to make some changes on Thursday. I'll be more interested in, as much as the starting team, the players he doesn't take, because I think he'll maybe leave 2 or 3 at home. 2 or 3 I think maybe won't travel. But I certainly wouldn't take McGregor. I'd leave McGregor in Glasgow, because McLaughlin's a more than able deputy. You're not going to need your sub goalkeeper. So there's no point in taking McGregor, really. Because there's other players that can fill the 2 goalkeepers jersey. That's one I wouldn't take. I possibly wouldn't take Davis, because again he's a senior member of the squad. We're already through. Give somebody, like you said, I'll give Zungo again.
Scott, what about yourself?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think interesting take on the on the situation, if you get the extra prize money, whether the funds will go towards the squad in January. And I think Gerrard is. I think it would only be natural and right for him to at least push for it.
Yeah.
You know, his argument is, okay, well, I've assembled this squad, and the idea of me assembling a successful squad is to generate the club income, and then with that income we reinvest it into the squad and make the squad even stronger to be even more successful. And I think that's what you've got to do. And I think everything around the club, an income generator has to go towards the squad, because that's ultimately what makes everything marketable and more successful. So it is vitally important that we do, and I said this in the last pod, that we look at all income sources, and if winning the group and winning the game gets us an extra €1.5 million, then that's certainly an avenue that I want to take. And as we do this, providing that it's not to the detriment of the league form. And as I said, if it's in the back of the mind that Dundee United have got their problems, then we should really be able to, or want to, look to capitalise on both situations. And as Will said, touching on that, resting key players, because it's not just about 90 minutes, it's the day's travel.
Yeah,
You know, it is near enough 15 hours travel, whether that's 7 hours getting to the airport, on the aeroplane, getting to your hotel, and then doing exactly the same at the other end. You want to minimise disruption to downtime to the players that perhaps that downtime would benefit more. And I think McGregor is one of these keepers that we actually need to sometimes wrap him in cotton wool. He probably wouldn't appreciate anyone saying that, but we do know he's got his back troubles. So give him a rest. I think McLaughlin would relish the opportunity to play in Europe, so give him the opportunity. Davis especially. Davis has been outstanding.
yeah.
But Davis seems to be one of the few players that I don't have qualms about resting. Perhaps I wouldn't want to rest him for too long because I fear rigor mortis or something might set in. So keep the old legs oiled on Davis, but yeah, at least rest him for a week. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that's the interesting thing. You know, like, they obviously signed Zungu as almost a replacement for Davis, in terms of if Davis was to pick up an ego or he needed a bit of rest. So potentially Thursday night's a great chance for Zungu to show that he can play at that level. So far, we've only really seen him against Falkirk and Hamilton, really, for any sustained period of time. So it would be nice to see him against Lech Poznan, because I think it's clear the guy's got a decent range of passing. He seems to have a decent engine as well. So it would be good to see him on the European stage playing for us, because I think at the end of the day, when we make our decision at the end of the season to sign him or not, it'll be based on a lot of important games over the season. And I don't think that's been disrespectful to Falkirk or Hamilton. But at the end of the day, the games that are important to Rangers and Rangers fans are the ones against Hibs and Aberdeen and Celtic in the European games. And that's where a lot of players are judged by Rangers fans against that standard opposition. So I think for Zungu, it could be hugely important for his future come the summer. If he has a good game on Thursday night and he catches the manager's eye, it might give him a wee chance of getting some more games between now and the end of the year, and obviously going into January.
Yeah, you're 100% right, Willie. I mean, that is the sort of thing we'll be judging players. Not just Zungu. I mean, okay, he hasn't got a lot of game time, and it would be that Calvin Bassey as well. We've not really seen him up against, with the greatest of respect to the teams he's playing against, a European side or a bigger side in our league. So I would see Calvin Bassey starting on Thursday, see what he's made of. You know, whether he starts him at centre back and gives a couple of the centre backs a rest, or puts him at left back and leaves Barisic out, which would be my preferred option for him. I think he'll start. You know, I mean, I was surprised to see McGregor playing in Dingle on Sunday, because I thought he'd have just given him the whole week off.
Yeah.
Not that he had a lot to do, but I'm glad he was there in the 25th minute when he made that save just before we scored. But I mean, players like Zungu, Bassey, I'd maybe look at giving Patterson a half. I couldn't maybe start Tav because I know Tav still likes to be playing. If the game's going okay, bring Patterson on at half time. Because you've got the 5 subs to use, and these managers starting to use the subs properly. When the game's finished, he's bringing folk on to give them game time, which he wasn't always doing before. So we've got to look at that aspect of it as well for the players that are in the European squad.
Yeah, I think even looking at somebody like sort of Hadji, for instance, I mean, is it important on Thursday night for somebody like Hadji to find his feet again? I mean, I know Giannis, in terms of his games, assist ratio has been very good for us overall this season. But do you think that given he's been out the team quite a lot recently, it's important that maybe Giannis gets his chance on Thursday night and potentially takes it so that he then gets back into the manager's eye as well, Scott?
Yeah. I'm not too concerned about Hadji, to be honest. I think he's got all the natural talent in the world. I think even when he's not playing well, he's influential. And I don't think he has played very well this season by any stretch, but he's just got the talent and he's got the ability to make a difference. It's consistency that we're searching for, but he's only going to get consistency if he plays a run of games. And at the moment, he's not going to, because it's kind of like self-defeating. He's not finding that consistency in his cameos. But we all can see the talent he's got. I think it was amazing that in the brief bit when he played, he hit that free kick intentionally, going deep, catch the keeper out with his left foot, and then he goes and takes the corner with his right foot. I mean, he makes football seem so easy, but he also, I think maybe sometimes it's like a flawed genius. He might find football that easy that he loses the concentration, and then he'll play a slap pass or get caught on the ball. So for me, I'm not overly concerned about Giannis. Zungu is an interesting one though, because I don't know about you. I actually got a little bit frustrated watching Zungu when he came on against Ross County. Now, for me, he's got to come in, and he's the one that really has to impress, because he's only here for a limited time. So every chance that he's got to be really pushing. And when he came on, all he seemed to want to do was the really easy option, the easy way out. So he got the ball in the middle and he played it straight back, constantly, backwards to the defender. That might be a bit harsh. But the one time he did try and play the ball forward sideways, it went straight out of play. So then he just reverted to going backwards. Now, what that did, that allowed Ross County to then press. Every time Zungu got the ball, they pressed. And we actually ended up losing the ball a couple of times in the dangerous positions. I don't see Gerrard really putting up with that kind of get out, that easy play for very long, because he's going to want people that are going to get on and push. Like Itten. Itten is a perfect example. He's the opposite. He gets on the pitch. He's chasing down lost balls. I mean, what he did for Defoe's goal was brilliant. So he's looking for people that are going to make an impact and make a difference to the game. So whether he hands, I think Hadji will get his chance on Thursday. Whether he hands Zungu, I think he has to because of the short time frame. But I think he's probably got a limited amount of chances. As I said, I expect him to get a decent run out as well.
No, I think that's what it's all about. I mean, like, when you look at the squad, it's important that guys get games, and it's important that we give them a chance to show what they can do. And I think moving forward for the coming 6, 7, 8 games we've got over a short period of time, it is important that we do utilise the squad and to give guys that opportunity to show what they can do. Wilf, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I think that's possibly a bit harsh on Zungu from Scott there. He's still relatively new to the Scottish game, and he's coming into a game that was, to all intents and purposes, already dead. I think if he got a couple of starts, coming out starting the game, he would maybe build himself into the game a bit better rather than coming on. And it's difficult for them to try and feel their way into the game when they've only come off the bench for a short period of time. I know exactly what Scott's saying. Gerrard won't put up with that. But I mean, Itten's had a lot more game time in Scotland. He knows the way the game goes. He knows, and it's more his game to play. It's like Hadji. I don't think Hadji's a very effective substitute, but he's decent from the start because he's Zungu could do the same as that.
Yeah.
Particularly until he gets to know the Scottish game. Europe might be ideal for him because European games more like the international game. where Zungo's got a lot of experience, whereas he's been in the Scottish game 5 minutes.
Right, guys, I think that will do us for tonight's pod. Yet again, thanks to Wilf and Scott for a great night as always. Make sure you check us out on Thursday for the after-match reaction. I think we're still waiting for Martin to get back to us with the whole who's going to be on it, etc. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, Spotify, Acast, iTunes, and many more. Martin, I did it again, mate. There you go, just for you. And once you see us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and give us a wee like and drop some comments to think if we're talking rubbish or we're talking sense. So thanks again, guys. Speak to you soon. Cheers.